You see it at the screen, James? When you click on the screen,
yeah, I got to
like I
take
said,
it live now.
oh, hold on. Hey, James, I just sent you a text if you can hear me.
All right. Hello. Aloha, everyone. We are live once again. We're Between Brothers and Sisters, where we will be discussing the Black woman. Tonight, we have an all-male panel. So we hope you'll enjoy. We'll be digging in. We're going to dive right into it. So welcome once again. It's your girl. It's your host with the most, your favorite chick to chit-chat with, Ms. Mo. All right, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me. We have, is it Naki? Is that how you pronounce your name, sir? We have Naki, we have James, Dion, and Sean. It's time to flip your video on. And I'm not sure if Chris will be joining us, but we're going to go ahead and get started. So thank you all again for joining. Tonight we're discussing the Black woman. And since we are running behind, we're going to go ahead and dive in. So our first question, what we want to hear from you guys, this is the third part in this discussion, is how do you see the Black woman today? Has she evolved over the years? Has she depreciated in your view of her over the years? Or how, and also if you can also answer for me, how has the Black man contributed to however you view her? Anybody can jump in first.
Well, I think I would think in some areas they've evolved. Okay. Business-wise, I think women are doing phenomenal. Entrepreneurs, CEOs, billionaires, millionaires, they doing their thing professionally. I give them complete props, so I can't I can't knock that. The thing I think it needs to be improved on is probably when it comes to kids. I think because women are doing so much. It's not saying. I think because, brother. I am Trent, but I think because women are doing so much, they're not as attentive when it comes to dealing with the kids and the family structure and making sure everything's okay. Now, I'm not saying because women are super women. Trust me when I say, but I think the attention has gone more into their careers and just a little bit less from the family structure. I'm not saying all, so please don't take me as all, but I'm saying just a little bit, just a tad.
Now, is that comment based upon a more personal or intimate experience? And are you saying that with regards to single women or married women?
I think it's a combination of both. It's not just laced toward anybody in particular. I think it's just more overall. For the most part, when you see kids, kids are doing a lot now. They're doing a lot of activities. Kids are entrepreneurs now. So with the growing, how I say, rise of kids becoming millionaires, entrepreneurs, and things like that, I think the kids are not being kids anymore. And usually the mothers are the basically the caretakers, usually. So for me, it's like the kids are not being kids anymore. But like I said, it's just my opinion. But like as I always stated, I think women are phenomenal. They're the best thing that ever happened on this earth. But I think I think as a whole, we need to take care of the family just a little bit better.
Now, even in that, in your view of her from that perspective and with the kids, my question is that based upon which one part you did answer, which was, is that from a personal, more intimate experience, or do you see that as the woman as a whole? Also, how much does the male or the father's input, assistance, or lack thereof play into their role?
I think for me, it's just a general of what I see. I see just in my travels, being out, if I go to a game or something like that, it's just a general consensus. It's not, I'm not directing nobody out or pointing anyone out. The men also, I think, I'm gonna be honest, I think men are picking it up nowadays in the family department. I know some excellent brothers. Like I said, I can't say everyone, but I know some excellent brothers that do the day-to-day with kids, are going to basketball games, are taking care, are doing homework. Well, e-learning nowadays, but but I know some excellent brothers that are really firsthand with their kids. But
I'm quite sure the sister's gonna come for the attack a little bit later. But I'm gonna let some of these other brothers get in on this. James over there laughing. You on mute. Unmute and come on with your comments, sir. Okay. You're still on mute. Hit the microphone.
You say how women evolve?
Yeah.
I mean, far as like financially, they evolve big time. That's because they got a chance now. They ain't really had no chance back then because they grew up as however they grew up. And the person that, I guess, if they, most black people ain't got a whole household, so the woman was really taught to just raise the kids. But they always been restricted for a long time. So now that the restriction has lifted, yeah, of course they supposed to evolve. They could have been evolved, but they was restricted. But yeah, they evolved financially. I think where they lack in that is they not as submissive as they used to be, which ain't, I don't say they have to submit all the way, but you still want to, not be too manly, because the women these days are too manly now. So, but they've evolved. I got to give them a lot of props, man. They done turned me to a good man. So, they good creatures to me. I love women. I'm married to one. So, but Dion hit it on point. They jobs, now that they got the opportunity. I'm not gonna say it's a lack of not being home, because when you look at it, I know for our culture, there ain't really a lot of daddies there, so they gotta do both parts like that. You know what I mean? They gotta be the mama, the daddy. They gotta bring in the bread, because the daddy ain't there, his ass locked up, or
keep it cute.
He just ain't there. Oh, I'm sorry, confused about profanity. But either he just ain't there, so they just, they go evolve, they women. They like a liver. They just, keep recuperate. Mm-hmm. But they just ain't submissive like they just not submissive like they used to be, A lot of women don't like flowers these days.
Not submissive though.
Okay, I'm saying, like, I'm not gonna say like sexual, I'm not gonna even use that. They just like, I don't see women, I'm not gonna say I don't see, but I just think women they would like they back rub majority of the time and they feet rub, the things of that nature, but most of the time they don't think that the man need that after a long day of work, or it's just a lot of stuff. So sometimes we want to get off work and just want to, have our back rubbed and our feet rubbed for a change. Instead of the women always saying, you say what now?
Do you communicate that?
I didn't hear you.
Do you communicate
all the time?
That? And it's just
all the time.
Oh, see, here's the
I
thing.
mean, no, I mean it's
thing. Some women have a problem with it. Period. It's just what they are and what it means to them, so they got a problem with it. Two, some women struggle with being submissive because they've been independent for so long. It's been them doing everything and relinquishing certain things. It's challenging to go from I don't have to consider nobody but me to handle everything to even being able to rely on having someone to assist you. Then there are some women who they don't come across submissive because they don't feel like they have trust in their partner to submit to. And that could be we still need to grow and get to know each other, or that could be you showing me some things that it's just like, I don't trust you. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do this. So it could be a multitude of things, but as a blanket statement that women don't like to submit, I mean,
No, I'm not saying they don't. I'm just saying some women, or not even some women, a lot of the women these days, not the ones our age, but like what I be seeing on an everyday basis, it's like the women is the new dude now. The women are the new dudes. They, and they want.
She had to do everything. Like it was just her. You got a lot of single mothers, like Dion said earlier. You have some men who stepping up and they doing like I've always known men that way. My brothers were men who took care of their kids, so I've seen it on both ends of the spectrum. But a lot of times, like one of the things that I've talked to Dion and Sean about in another session that we had before some years back was one of my concerns was when my husband does come along, how challenging will it be for me to now
submit,
to relinquish some of what I'm used to handling. Not because I have
submit, say it,
like, I'm tired, to be truthfully honest with you. I want him to come on and take over some stuff.
Submit.
But although that's my desire, that doesn't mean that it's gonna take. No, see, I don't have a problem with it because right or wrong, if you the one making a decision in that area, brother, it's gonna fall on you. You the one said, let's go this way. Next time, listen, when I tell you this is what we can do. But see, my thing is, it's not a my way or your way. It's let's figure out what's the best way to handle this thing and move with that. If it sounds like it's yours, let's go. But if when we start walking down according to what you said and we see that thing isn't working, it's time for us to push pause and reconsider how we're going to continue. Like I'm all for it, personally. But my concern is that adjustment period of letting some stuff go, because it's just me. I go, I handle, I respond, I take care of. It's just me. There is nobody else. So then I have to really, first of all, I got to trust you to say I do, but I really have to trust you to lead our household. Like, and if you get out there and you start acting a complete fool with your decision making, in brother, my submission is because you know what the hell you're doing. But we'll come back to that, and I want to come back to some Beyonce too. But who's next?
It's Knock Ness. I'm gonna come back in. Let me get this phone real quick.
I don't know. I've been sitting here listening to y'all, and I look at the Black woman in so many different aspects, and from a intimate level, from the women that I know, they all doing great financially, but like money provides, but it also divides. And that's what I see a lot happening, is dividing, women's that like I said, I'm gonna keep it on the women that I know, they have good intentions, but their attention is not on what it needs to be. It ain't. they're more concerned, and especially the ones who earn, what they driving, nails done, how they hair look, this, and that, and the other. And they neglect relationships as far as, like Dion said, as far as the family go, they're neglecting the relationships as far as with their sons, nephews, husbands, or whoever is getting neglected. And most of them is on the I concept. It's all about them. It ain't about the man. It ain't about what he need, because you say woman, I say whole man. That's how I pronounce woman. Whole man. Because she makes a man whole. She completes him. That's the way God intended it for it to be. She's supposed to complete him. And that's not happening. What's happening is, in most cases that I see, there's a divide. And that's where all the breakdown is coming in. Now, you want to look at it from a spiritual aspect, we can do that too. Because Adam was sitting there watching Eve talk to the reptile. We sit and watch our wives go shopping, watch these sitcoms and TV shows, all these things that's robbing our relationships from its nutrients, especially from God, because God, the wife and the husband is a triangle. And if your attention ain't in the right place, then it's going to be a divide. And that's what I see. Oh yeah, women are doing great, but it's more than just the women, the reason why, they're getting jobs. It's a lot.
Noki.
It's a lot more than that.
Oh, Naki, sorry. Naki, do me a favor. Can you prop your phone up somewhere and stabilize it? Because when you talk, you do this, and every time you do this, your camera kind of go in and out of view.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll hold it like this. I'm sorry.
Or just prop it up against something. Get creative. Put a cup or book or vase or something and prop it in front of it so your hands can be free and you can get out how you live.
Okay, well, I can't really prop it because I'm trying to charge it at the same time.
Oh.
I'll do my best.
Sorry. Yeah, because it's like whenever you move,
okay.
You kind of go.
Well, how is that?
That's better. You good.
Okay.
Now all you need is a seat so you can get comfortable.
Okay, I'm good.
Okay. All right, Sean, go ahead.
I'll say I kind of agree with what Naki is saying. Many of the women that I know or have talked to recently, it's always about the I factor and not the me. I think many of our women are involved in the world and their careers and their ministry. But somewhere along the line, many of them have got lost with the notion of it's all about them. And I would say, like, when I have a conversation with a successful woman, she lists over everything she has accomplished. So when you ask her about, what do you see yourself in 3 to 5 years, as far as with a marriage or relationship, the conversation always seems to continue to be about her. Even when I listen to them talk about goals and dreams, those goals and dreams only concern her. It doesn't include, many of them that I know, most of them don't have children. So it's like, it's always about them. I'll also say that some of the women that I do know that are excelling, that are mothers, they are doing a phenomenal job with raising their children. I worked with a few not too long ago over at New Life, and I can say that, at least 3 of them were, running their own businesses, running ministries, taking care of the household, looking after their parents, fulfilling their dreams and their goals. And they were doing an amazing job at it. And their kids didn't get neglected in it. So I think because some of them women, they had a mother and a grandmother to teach them how to balance everything. And I think with this generation of women in their 30s and 40s, mama and grandma may not have been at home. And so somewhere along the way, they got lost in they got lost with, how to actually, do the whole providing piece. Where the building come in with a man. I can even speak to my family. Many of the women in my family are independent. They have this notion, I don't need a man. I just need a man for sex. He can't help me. You said, or? What'd you say?
No, I said, call me.
Oh. Oh. They don't need a man to help pay bills or do things around the house. They can do it themselves. So it's kind of like they just need him for the intimacy part. A lot of women I've talked to lately also is that thing of, I don't need a man. I just need him for intimacy. I don't need him for anything else. So I think we just get into a place where independents have seemed to be the run of the show now.
I almost want to ask y'all, who are these women y'all hanging around? Having these conversations with, because they sound nothing like the women that I know or am connected to. Now, it don't mean we perfectly get everything right. We handling everything accordingly, but even the thing with kids, and even with, you all talking about their work and how they're focused on their careers and so on and so forth. I think a lot of it is perspective related because, we're taught you need to have 7 streams of income. When you look at what some jobs are paying, unless you started out young on a career path and grow within the place you're in, if you come out and you older, because like even for me finding a job, it's not impossible, but now that I'm settled in some things, like a job has to provide certain things, and so it's not a whole bunch of them out there trying to hire my age bracket. And things like that. And then there are other elements that play a role in that as well. But some of it is her trying to provide for her family. And because she's juggling a lot by herself, then some things may slip. Some things may not get done or may not handle. And oftentimes it's those close to her, because while they're her motivation, while they're her reason for pushing so hard, while they're her reason, her drive, her go-getter, it's the whole means of that. At the same time, it requires a lot. And sometimes it's not that you necessarily lose sight, but you're doing the best you can. I got to do this so that I can feed you. I got to do this so that I can take care of you. And so I don't know, in those instances where you guys talk about she's so focused on her, and I heard one of you mention something about her hair and this, that, and the other thing. Well, all of that comes from trying to keep herself together and presentable for the man in her life. And so, she walk around and her hair not combed. She gets all kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? She got to take it from the fellas. She got to take it from other females. Like, it's just so many. I feel like there's such a weight on us. There's such a responsibility on us, and there's such a sacrifice to show up. And there's so many things that we deal with in private that people that the man may not know. Like, your struggles, what you deal with, but you don't know what we deal with. And so it comes across to you one way, but if she actually had time and the words to put to it and unpack it and tell you what it is, it's like, oh dang, my bad, boo. You know what I'm saying? It's not easy for us. It's not easy for y'all. And we don't know everything. And even Sean, as you mentioned, it comes from our upbringing and our raising. We weren't all raised the same, but then it could be 5 people in the same house raised by the same people, and they all walk away with something different because we are different. Our focuses are different. It's a lot of dynamics in that. But the interesting thing that I find in this is, when I asked you guys, like, how do you see the Black woman? Who is she to you? It was about how she's evolved financially, that status of her in the world. But I didn't hear anybody talk about her character beyond she's slacking in this or she's slacking in that. But I guess it kind of goes back to the same question. It's not about you guys pointing out or exposing anyone, but these sound more personable than universal views of the Black woman.
No, mine is more universal. It's not, like I said, I'm not picking anyone out. It's just what I see. And like I said, I can't see everything, so I'm just picking off what my
So it's a limited view.
Yeah, it's a limited view. It's just, like I said, off my six senses, what I can pick up. I don't know everybody's story, so I cannot say, well, this. So I can only pick up off what I'm gathering. But it's a universal thing where it comes into kids are suffering. The family structure is suffering. As we see, divorce is high.
But how much of that is a shared responsibility of the man? A lot of where you see her at, how much did the man contribute to her state? Because what you may be seeing is her in this position responding to life. There are things that she's endured throughout her life, throughout her childhood. It's not an excuse. It's just the reality.
It's just the reality.
I've never dealt with. When you talk about molestation and stuff like that, even when we were talking earlier about submission, she may have some issues with submitting because of some views or some things that happened to her along the way. So it's not necessarily trying to excuse it, but trying to get to a point where we understand why we're seeing what we're seeing and how to assist in the healing of it so that we can get back to the Black family structure. Because even in raising the children, there's something she provides, but there's a lot more that he provides as well. And it's not just a financial situation. It's not just, let me go out here, make the bacon, bring it home, and you fry it up and feed it to him. Like, there's a responsibility in disciplining and rearing a child and training them in the way that they should go, that the father plays as well. And when you look at single families, the child go over here and they learn one thing, they over here and they're learning something. Some women are overcompensating and gifts and things that they do for the kids because maybe the father isn't there, whether he's passed or he's just not there for whatever reason, or he's not there as much, or maybe he does for the kid, he's just not physically in the home. So they trying to compensate because he's not home with me, but my brother gets to spend time with daddy. So it's different because
as far as
relationship status. So I think there's a lot of things that play into what you see with children, and I don't think it's just a one-sided.
No, and my apologies. It's never one-sided. I was just speaking on the woman half. I didn't get to the men's. So on the man on the man part, it's always a shared responsibility, no doubt about that. What I can say is I can't speak for the fools who are just not there. I don't know. I'm not going to give them excuse, but as you stated, it could have been how they raised. It could have been their circumstance. I don't know what their situation is, so I can't speak to that. But as I know from the good brothers who wants to try to be in their life, you have to think, men go through a lot when it comes to, it's not saying that women don't either, so please don't take it as me. But men go through a lot. With the woman that's an entrepreneur who has her kids, when a man is trying to court her and she doesn't have time for this, time for that, or she's neglecting anything, he's attempting to be in her life, to pick up pieces where she may slack or she may lack. But that's coming to the team part. As far as the ones that are, they may have the guy in the home. That's a conversation they need to have. I don't know. I can't speak to that either. But from the guys that I know that are great, they are there with their kids. It seems like, I don't know what it is with this world, but it's either one is doing or the other is doing. It's hard. It's very rare that we see two people connecting and going on all cylinders. Like I said, I've seen some excellent fathers. And with them excellent fathers, a lot of the times come with mothers who are just the worst of these men. I mean, I don't know what this generation is coming to, and I'm not saying all, but a lot of these women are more men than men, or act just as hard.
They've had to.
I mean, these women nowadays will leave you with the baby.
And you know, since you talking about that, like, I just want to ask the fellas a question. Like, when was the last time, like, you've been somewhere and a woman's vibe just jumped on you? Like, man, she's super sweet.
I'll say last week.
Long as you don't get on that not so sweet side.
But Sean, you talking about old ladies, or you talking now this mess with you?
No, I'm talking.
Because I think that the palm tree just popped up.
Oh, I'm talking about in general. Period. Older,
No,
younger. Don't matter.
I mean, at my job, I'm around a lot of women, and it seems like the sweetest women that I come across are the older women. The older women are, boy, they sweet. They bring you plates. You know what I'm saying? They feed you.
That's because they seasoned and they settle. And this is like, it is what it is. Now, I will be honest, you catch us on the right day, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes that right day don't come around too often. Depending on her life and her surroundings, like, you stay guarded. You literally stay guarded because you're always dealing with stuff. And you don't, like, when I just moved back to the Carolinas in December. And Chicago puts me in a different mindset and response mode. And I remember driving and I was on the road aggressively, like in the shot, because you got to drive aggressively there. You know what I'm saying? To make sure you don't get ran off the road. And I mean, I was mugging folks, and it was like somebody had tapped me on my shoulder while I was driving and said, Mo, you're not in the shot no more. Like, you can relax. I had to learn to calm down because I have been responding to my experiences. And my experiences, Chicago keeps me on high alert for multiple reasons. And so even coming into a different environment, I had to retrain myself because I was so used to being on high alert. I didn't know how to relax. Like, even if I don't have nothing to do, I'm finna find something to do because I don't know how to sit still. So some of it is retraining some things because I've always been doing multiple things for everybody and so on and so forth. So, you know, you might run into some sour sisters because sometimes we be that way. But once you get a little older, you be seasoned and you be like, forget everybody and everything. This is what it is. And you just easy like Sunday morning. But I want to ask another question. On our first call with the guys, they talked about how they felt like the Black woman, you know, she fights for the Black man. And they didn't see where she did that as much in the past, but they see it more now. And that may be different from the circles y'all travel in. But my question is, do you feel, first of all, do you agree with that statement? And secondly, do you feel like the Black man covers the woman the same?
I'm gonna go with, I think the women back in the days covered us more. And that's just me about this standpoint. I grew up with, I got a gang of aunties, a gang of women cousins, and they fight about theirs. They mama bears, yeah. They ain't let nothing happen to their cubs. As I stated, I think in these times, because the women are putting on so many hats, they're not as attentive. So I think it's more then than it is now. And what was the other question? I'm sorry.
Do you feel like the Black man covers her the same?
I think as a general, I think men, and I like I said, I can't speak for fools. I can't. But the men overall, I think men really do cover women. As I seen being here in Chicago, you get to see, like, you seen men escorting women to cars after certain events. jumping in front of them, protecting them.
I've seen
So-
some throw her out there too.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say it don't happen. I'm
Yeah,
not gonna
right.
say it don't happen, but because like I say, but I think men do cover women. And even when it comes to just certain things, like regardless of what the situation, I think men overall cover whereas prayer, whereas anything else. Because I pray for multiple of people, whether it's pray or even if I see an old lady at a grocery store, I done pay for groceries just because the Spirit told me to. And I can't lie, the Spirit ain't never told me to do it for a man.
Well, I'm going grocery shopping tomorrow.
Well,
If you
I
want
said
to
the
cash
Spirit.
app me, is $ Monique Strong. You go ahead and knock out the groceries.
I said when the Spirit leads, if the Spirit leads, I send you
I
a
feel him
Zelle,
stirring you. I feel him stirring you.
but if he don't, look, I'm being obedient. Look, I'm being obedient. But yeah, I think men are covering women. As a whole, I don't think so. I think it's virtually impossible because with the low number of men out here, how can we possible cover, like women outnumber us from 5 to 1. I think it's numerically impossible to cover all the women. But I could be wrong, but my numbers may be off. It may be 3 to 1, but
I don't know.
think-
You can roll with your 5 to 1.
but I think numerically it's impossible to cover all of them. But the men that are spiritual, loving, caring, I think they do cover their household.
I'll say, I think that I would say majority of the women that are spiritual, I believe they're covering men, whether they are married to them, family, friends, or just in communication with them. I can think over 8, 9 dozen of women that I talk to on a regular that I know for a fact cover me and other men that I may serve with. So I think, it's part of the relationship that you may have with them for that covering. Again, I will say I don't hang with too many worldly guys, but the ones that I do know, I know them to be protectors over anybody they just may be in contact with. So I think in general, men cover women. And I think that's just something, we do by nature, that's natural for us. And I think the younger generation is rising up in such a way that they don't cover nobody but themselves.
Might not even know how to cover themselves.
That's true. So I think, I think the covering is mutual. I think it's mutual between men and women. It's from what I see. That's, come from serving those I work with. I can even say the men in my family, the way that we cover the women on a consistent basis. So again, I think it's just your upbringing and those who you connect yourselves with. Case in point, I was downtown last Thursday, and while walking, I noticed that, guy had to be about 26, 27, maybe somewhere in his late 20s. He was walking on the outside of the street on the inner side of the street while his wife and daughter was close to the street. So, I just tapped him on the shoulder like, hey, you're supposed to be, close to the street. If a car come through or something happen, you can cover your lady and your baby. He's like, oh, I didn't know that. He was like, thanks for telling me. And so even in that type of situation, I think that some of their generation just don't know. They didn't have anybody there to teach them, things like that. But I think if more of us as men step up and not be so timid, to approach some of them, we can make it a little bit better too. And how we redirect them.
I like that. Agreed. Well spoken, sir. Naki?
Yes. I think I think the men, those who know how to cover
Mm-hmm.
are covering women.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, a lot of women ain't trying to be kept
Kept or covered.
kept or covered. Kept or covered. They want to do their own thing. They want to do their own thing. You can build a wall around your house to protect it, but if everybody want to stay outside the wall, there's really nothing you can do about protecting your house. You know.
I hear you.
So but yeah, but other than that,
Okay, just for clarity's sake too, I think this is an interesting point as well. Dion and Sean are both single, never married. James, who left us, is married. And Naki, are you married or single?
I am married.
Okay, and then you're married. Um, okay, so my next point. Something that we've heard, and we're going to kind of delve into relationships from a different aspect a little bit. And how long have you been married, Naki?
Uh, 3-4 years. One
You
of them.
haven't been off the market too long, so you may still be able to dive into this one as well. But well, you probably still don't have nothing to do with that, so you may know anyway. Do men? We've heard that men know right away whether or not she's the one, whether or not she's someone he just wants to talk to, play with, marry, all of those different things. We've heard that over and over again.
Mhm.
Is that true? Was that true for you? And if you can also say what makes her the one. Like, do you know who the one is? Well, did you know who the one was? Like, what made her the one? What would be an identifier of her? And what are some disqualifiers of her?
What qualify her is like we got along so well. Our communication was like phenomenal, and I think I was dating her like 4 months, and I knew I was like, I want to marry her.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I want to marry. It was electrifying, man. I never felt so intimate and close to no woman other than my mama and my sisters than with her. Like we just connected, you know, and it was a lot of, you know, a lot of things happen, and it's like from the time that when we met and we're dating, it's like I was in the streets, and you know, like she was, you know, working and, you know, doing her thing or whatever the case may be, and you know, a lot of things happened, and I don't know.
You said it was 3, or what did you say? 3 or 4?
Years as far as what?
Months.
Oh,
Before
before I decided that I wanted to marry her.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was about 4 months.
So you didn't know right off the bat.
No, I didn't. Not right off the back. No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So Sean and Dion, you guys were off. I don't know if you heard the question, or do y'all need me to repeat it? Dion, you on mute.
Yeah, repeat the question. I'm sorry.
So do men know right away if the woman is the one? You know, we've heard it all the time. He knows when he first sees her whether she's the one, she's the one he wants to get to know, play with, date, whatever. Do you know right away what makes her the one, whoever she is, when you find her? And are there any disqualifiers?
I'll let Sean go first.
This sounds like episode 1 now.
I believe that when I see my wife, I'll know she's the one. I think it's just something that I've been learning wanting for so long. And I think one of my constant prayers is for God, wherever my wife is, continue to cover her, to continue to build her, so that when we do unite, it'll just, it'll be that perfect bonding, far when it comes to relationship, communication, family, understanding my calling, with younger kids and teenagers. I just believe that, it'll be the perfect match. So I would say I'm not sure if I'll know. I kind of think it's just how, how it may lay out. But I remember my Uncle Derek, who lives down there in North Carolina, was telling me that he met Monty Deidre, his wife. He knew the first time he saw her that she was going to be his wife. They dated for 3 months, got married on the 4th month, and they just celebrated their 25th anniversary back in June.
Oh, that's
Wow.
so
They have built an empire together, built a house from the ground up, running 3 or 4 successful businesses. She has grown from a school teacher all the way to now where she run the North Carolina, school system. Like they have grown in so many ways. Even my aunt and uncle, my auntie Judy, my Uncle Joe, they met in high school. He chased her around all throughout high school. She ain't never been with nobody else but him. And when they graduated high school, he married her. They just celebrated 40-some years of marriage. No infidelity in the marriage. Whenever she, go off on him, he go for a ride down Lakeshore Drive. He said he come back home. He said, being married 40-some years, they've never spent the night not in the same room.
That's dope.
He was like, and he keep it that way because they have to keep the communication over. He said if there has been a night that they did not sleep in the same room, it was because either she was out of town with her family or, with the kids doing some type of outing or vice versa, but they've never had that time apart. They live by that notion of we're not going to bed angry. So we're going to resolve this thing tonight or we're going to be up all night. And so that's what I look for when I think of marriage. I want my marriage to mimic my uncles on both sides. And so then I would say some drawbacks for me is a woman with more than 2 kids.
mercy.
I can't do the whole Brady Bunch coming through the door.
Smell your neck.
I can deal with, 1 or 2. And then another deal breaker for me is if the woman and her children's father don't have a relationship. I don't want to be drawn in the midst of the foolishness between the both of them. And so, I feel like if we can't have a conversation where it can get them to have open communication regarding the kids, I don't want to be put in the middle of it.
But what if it's just a toxic mix?
I think even if it's a toxic mix, they still can communicate when it comes to the kids.
But what if it's not on her that she can't communicate with him? Some people are just buttholes.
Oh, I know. So I think that's just a serious conversation we have to have. I know what it's like to grow up in a dysfunctional family, and I know the damage it do to children. And I just don't want to be a part of that process of somebody's child being damaged while in my home because of a lack of communication. And what I've learned over the years by mentoring teenagers and kids, I would say 95% of the time, the woman is the problem. That's what I get from what I've been dealing with over the years where it comes to mentoring kids. It's her not liking his new girlfriend or his new wife, or she still have feelings for him, or she don't like how, the new woman might treat her child better than she does. That's 99% of the circumstances that I've dealt with, in ministry, whether it was with my nonprofit or even working with DCFS. even growing up, I can speak to myself. My father's wife didn't allow him to take care of us. And he went with it. And so now that we are adults, I see how me and my siblings are so divided. And it's sad. I can even remember a time a couple of years ago, my stepmother told me, I'm the reason why your father never brought you X, Y, and Z. Or every time you called and asked for something, I told him, no, you couldn't have it. So it's just a lot of things that go into it. So I think if my mom and dad had an open communication line, I think it would have been a great relationship between the two of them, where it would have shown us as the children how to properly communicate. And so it's just some things I refuse to deal with going into a marital relationship. So I'll say that's for me.
Okay. I feel you on that.
As far as me, I think men get that inkling, that feeling of if that woman is the woman. We truly don't know until we peel back some layers, but I think overall we get that feeling because that connection is something that you just can't describe. It's the way y'all in sync and y'all just met each other. So I think for the most part, men have an inkling, because even during my days where I was out in the streets, I knew what woman wasn't my wife, and the ones that and the woman that is. And I've always knew. And one thing I didn't play with is I didn't tell women that I loved them. I wasn't that guy. If I didn't love you, you not gonna hear it from my mouth. So I was adamant about that because I didn't want to play with your heart. I'm gonna tell you the truth. If you decided to go with the truth, but I gave you that option. So yeah, I think men know. I don't care what's going on, how far. If you're not connected with yourself or the spirit, I think you know if that woman is your woman or not. Because like I said, even when I was out in them streets, I knew.
So there was a comment that came in, and it was regarding Sean's statement about 90 women are 90% at fault for toxic relationships and co-parenting. I mean, I guess it didn't bug me because I think with guys, it's either I'm gonna take you to court and get my rights, or I'll fall back and wait till they grown and then establish, or I'll attempt and fall back for drama's sake. But I know when I hear more issues in co-parenting, unless he's just some jealous, obsessive dude, most co-parenting situations, the woman has parental guardianship. And so whether or not the parent that's having the issue with seeing him is because for whatever reason, she's not allowing it. In most situations where I have seen bad parenting or toxic, now bad parenting is different. Let me clear that up because
I agree.
I've seen a lot of situations where the men were just absent. But I also have seen when it's a toxic connection, I have seen in most of those situations where it was her giving him a hard time because she hadn't moved on, or she was just pissed off, period. It wasn't that she still wanted you, she was just pissed off. And this is what she decided to do, or her way of saying F you, or whatever the case may have been. I don't know if it's a 90%, a 75, a 50, 40, like, I don't know what the percentile would be.
But it's a high percentage.
In most situations where it has been a toxic co-parenting, it's been more on her side than it has been on his. That I will say. But that's when it's toxic. Now, when it's you being a bad parent or absent parent or slacking parent, I've seen it on both sides. But in my experiences, it has been more so him than it has been her, because he could walk away, she can't. But then you do have some women who have just been bad mothers. Be it they weren't ready, they didn't want it, they're hurt, they don't know. Like, it's a lot of things that play into all of those roles. So, but I did want to bring that comment. So,
before Sean pick up, let me say this. At one point, I was at child support court for my son. Don't worry, I'm not on there now. I take care of my kids.
mm-hmm.
But what I'm gonna say to that, if you just walk in that courthouse, just listen, and I guarantee you would see the problem. Because 9 times out of 10, well, no, I'm not gonna say 9 times out of 10. Let's say 7 times out of 10.
Yeah,
you gonna hear the women fussing at a man, and a man just say, all I want to do is see my kids. Whatever you gonna take is whatever you gonna take. And that's horrible. For that person that asked that question, go into a courthouse and go to the child support division. I guarantee you're gonna see exactly what Sean just mentioned. You don't have to take any of our words for it. Just go into a courthouse on your day off or go in for an hour. You don't have to stay long. Trust me, it's gonna be apparent on a lot of men just saying, I just want to see my kids. I ain't seen my kids in months.
I've seen, like I said, I've seen it in my own experiences with my brothers, with friends, with co-workers. Like, especially when you work in those environments, and I'm not saying it's age specific, but when you work around a lot of that age span where it's generally a lot of drama that's connected and associated with it, you see a lot of that. You hear their conversations. Now, what I will say is sometimes what you see is anger from what is going on. May not handle it the best way or the proper way or the most effective way, but sometimes it is stemmed from experiences that they have had with that guy or with the father of the children. So not excusing it, not blaming it. I just think it's in everything. It's not a specific formula as to this is what it is what it is, so on and so forth. But what I will say is, of the experiences that I've overheard, witnessed, or seen, I haven't been a part of, because I don't have a baby daddy, I don't have a kid's father, I don't have a man. But anyway, I have seen it where it was mainly coming from the woman's side. Now, that's not always, because sometimes it was the dude. Sometimes he would do stuff to kind of be like, I'm gonna do it and make her move the way she moves to teach him a lesson. So it's like, I've seen it that way, and it's just been for different reasons. But did you want to say anything?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I've seen in my years of experience. I've been working in early childhood development for about 14, 15 years. Been working in church ministry for over 20 years. Been working in and out with DCFS for over 10, 15 years. And 90% of the cases, that's always the problem. That, from my experience, even when I talk, even men in my family, there's some phenomenal men in my family that dated a bunch of, I'll say, hood boogers, so to speak. They just wasn't mother material. They don't have anything about them nurturing. And so, like, I got cousins and uncles who have to literally fight just to see their kids because they baby mamas want extra money. I've been, at events where they cut up because, oh, you only gave me $700 this month. I need an extra $300. They taking care of their kids, whether it's, buying them things at football games, cheerleader practice, like, they're there and they don't get the proper support. I just had a teen call me yesterday talking about if he didn't get out the house with his mom, he was gonna kill himself. I'm like, what? He was like, all she do is nag. All she do is complain over and over again. He was like, and it's draining. He was like, let me go to my dad's house for a couple of weeks. She told him no. And I'm on the telephone the whole time listening to all them argue. He's like, why can't I go to my dad's house? Oh, you want to go there because he got that new broad over there. You just want to get to know this new broad. He was like, no, I'm just tired of hearing you holler all the time. And she just kept putting his dad down. Every time he mentioned his father, she just kept putting him down. And so again, I can only speak from my years of experience. So I mean, I can only go off of my experience. I can't go off anything else. I got a bunch of friends who are great fathers. I got a bunch of friends that literally take care of their children by themselves. They raising them without the mother being there. I got some buddies who been in courts just to get visitation rights because the mother is so bitter and angry. I got a buddy right now giving his son mother $2,500 a month, and she still won't let him see him. And like he sits on the phone and cry all the time, like, man, I just want to kick it with my son. Son, 14 years old, he ain't seen him in a year. He talked to him on the telephone. Anytime he need anything, he is zealous to them, but she won't let him see him. And it's foolishness. So, I mean, again, I can only speak from my years of experience. I don't really know any deadbeat fathers. I can say 100 of the men I may be around.
They exist, right?
You said who?
But you do know that they exist, right?
Oh, I know they exist. Hell, I have one.
Go ahead.
So again, most of the guys that I know are stand-up dudes. They are great fathers. They're great protectors. They've just had some run-ins with some whatever type of women. I'll just say that.
Naki, you look like you got something on your mind.
Sleep. Straight up. I'm tired. I'm sitting here dozing off. I'm walking around trying to stay up. But it's tough. It's tough. You know, and it's like my experience, the things that the people I know had to deal with, the child support thing and all of those, it's the same story. The same. I mean, it ain't the same all the time, but you know, from what I hear, it's the same thing. And I know, like, had I chose at any time to say, you know, I'm ready to go a different route, I don't want to be married anymore or anything like that, guess what? It'll be me. It'll be me. I know for a fact that my wife will weaponize my kids against me. Mm-hmm. I know that. You say what?
Really?
I know for a fact, and it ain't. It's the thing is, it's like they use that as a weapon. You know what I mean? They use it as a weapon to hurt. I mean, they intend on hurt you, but they hurt everybody. They hurt the kids, they hurt you, they hurt everybody that's, you know, who, you know, like, I got a big family. I got 5 sisters, 2 brothers, you know, and like my sisters and family, they all about the kids. So like, if they couldn't see the kids, it'd be like, it'd hurt them too, you know? So it's a lot. It's a lot. I wish I could tell you what I really want to say about women, but
You might need to talk to me offline about that.
oh yeah.
My page has the capacity to contain that.
and then, you know, and another thing, I'm gonna be honest, I'm kind of restraining myself from what I want to say because you're a woman.
But see, I feel like a lot of with anybody, we all speak from our experiences. We can only speak from that. You know what I'm saying? That's what we base our knowledge upon. But
Yeah.
it just seems like y'all had some not so pleasant connection. But I know you said you tired. I don't want to hold you, sir. So you can go ahead. I'm gonna give you the floor. Is there's anything you want to share before you go, and then you can go ahead and drop off, get you some good sleep, some good rest. Let those eyes, see the back of your eyelids and all that good stuff. Thank you for joining. We'll continue after you're gone, but I want to give you the chance to share anything that you want to share.
No, thank you for inviting me. Thanks for the invite. I greatly appreciate it. I greatly appreciate the brothers. I mean, I love the black woman. I love the black queen. But they've been through a lot. They evolved, and but we all got to do better. We all got to do better because it's like we all live in the rat race. Everybody running and chasing down something and forgetting about what's the most important thing. What's most important? You want to choose money, you want to choose happiness. Cause ain't nothing godly coming out of no chaos.
Y'all thought about therapy? Counseling?
Yeah. I got to tell you about my therapy offline, but Dion don't agree with it, but I like it. But anyway, I greatly appreciate the invite. Please, let me know the next time that you all.
Yeah, but you're gonna have to take a nap that day so you be well rested when we had this next one. Okay, sir?
Yeah. Yep. On a Sunday, I'll be well rested.
Got you. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Nike. I appreciate your input. Until next time, since you've already told me you would be more than willing to come back, we'll keep you posted.
Thank you. Bros, take care.
All right, bro.
Good night.
Have a good one.
All right.
All right, Dion and Sean, that means y'all got to stay on y'all screens. Y'all can't be chatting out on me. But anyway, so I wanted to keep the conversation going. But what y'all experiences that y'all had, I don't really know if y'all ready for this next question. What I wanted to ask is what makes the black woman beautiful? What makes her beautiful? You hear beauty is skin deep, but what about her is beautiful to you? But shoot, y'all had such ugly experiences. But
I would say one thing I love about a black woman is natural beauty. I'm not a fan of the casket beat face. I'm not a fan of the long weave. I just love natural beauty. There you go. Look at
Don't be hating on my wig.
I just love natural beauty. I don't mind, a little lip gloss, outline, and stuff like that. I'm fine with that. But all the extra stuff, I think it takes away from the actual beauty of a woman. And I love, how a black woman can dress herself up in so many different styles and still be who she is, still be unique. When I think about other cultures and things of that nature, they're always bland. But one thing about a black woman, she makes sure she put herself together well. Not all of them, some of them. But
didn't I tell you to behave?
I am behaving. I ain't said nothing. I love a woman that can carry herself with confidence. Can walk into a room and just demand attention without saying anything. Her presence speaks before she even enters through fully. So it's things like that I love about a black woman. It seems like other races they don't have that ability to walk into a room where a black woman can. I watched how Michelle Obama gave her speech the other night and how just opening up her mouth and just her presence alone, it cultivated the world. And like, what's more beautiful than that? Also, that's for me.
It's to piggyback off what Sean said. Despite the experiences that I think that we had, it's something about this black melanin skin. Like I can't tell you anything different. I've seen women that captivated me, and it didn't matter if she was small, thick, or big. I've seen big girls walk in a room and excuse my language, but just kill everybody in the room. It's something about their voice, how nurturing they can be, how once we have a ability, and I'm speaking as far as blacks, we have the ability to master anything that we touch. And I love that about that. And nobody embodies that more than a black woman. Nobody. I don't care what race you go to, listen, we are everything. And once we know that we are everything, once we know and we are in our full element and we match it up with God, there's nothing that we're not going to take over. There's nothing that the class is not going to show. We are amazing in every category, and sometimes in the worst categories. But either way, there's nothing that I want more than a black woman.
Good answer. So, I like that you touched on the fact that she's nurturing and her ability to master anything she puts her hand to, because a lot of I haven't heard from you guys as a collective much about the true heart and essence of the Black woman. And I think it's because of what you have encountered and experienced over time. Because in like the first one, we heard about her being ambitious, her resilience, and her ability to fight. And last week we talked with ladies and we talked about our experiences, you know, how life handled us, you know, and how maybe two of them kind of mentioned how sometimes you will go along just to keep the peace. Like it's just so much. There's so many dynamics to the woman, period, but especially the Black woman. Her ability to, it's like she has that. You remember that toy that I don't know if they probably didn't have it out when y'all was little because y'all younger than me. But that little toy thing that you would hit and it would go back and bounce back up. It's kind of like that's how I see her. Like you take hit after hit, but you keep coming back and you keep going. And it's like even those when you get to the point where you break down or you're about to break down, it's like even then you're still fussing at yourself like, come on girl, you got to get up, you got to keep going, you got to keep doing. These are the women I know. Now we struggle in some areas, but then again, like I said, I've also experienced some of the women that you guys have talked about or whatever, but it's not the majority of what I run into. And then maybe I don't see it that way because when I run into it, I also run into it asking the question of, okay, God, what am I really looking at? Like, I see this. Like, I remember there was this young lady and she was going off on everybody pertaining to her kids in this particular group. And so I was praying, and what God was telling me was that there was another area of her life where she had to defend her character as a mother. And so because she had to fight, she was in the fight of her life. And because she had to fight for herself so aggressively in that, she didn't know how to turn that off. So anything triggering her mothering skills or her kids, it was an automatic, go off for her. Now, while she wasn't handling those other situations properly, I understood why we were experiencing and seeing what we were. So when I had a conversation with her, she just poured it all out about what she was experiencing and what she was going through. And in that, I was able to sympathize with her and give her some advice on how to kind of turn it off when you're here, be able to realize that this is here, this isn't everywhere. Everybody's not out to get you. Sometimes people are sharing with you things that you need to know. But because she was so in that moment, she didn't know how to turn it off. And so that conversation changed not only her dynamics and exchanges with everybody, but it also changed a friendship, a sisterhood with me and her as well, that we weren't able to get to had I'm not asked why we keep seeing it and heard it and then wanted to reach out to help. So a lot of what we see and experience, there's other things going on behind it. And sometimes we don't have the time to unpack with them, be like, look, chick, why you this, that, and the other thing? We just don't have the time or we don't have the desire. But even when it comes to men and what we see in them, a lot of what we see is a lot of different reasons. So when people are married or they're having issues with their children's father, and it's like, well, he this, he that, and he ain't, and he da-da-da-da. It's like, well, what did his upbringing form in him? And not even just how mom or dad raised them, but what did those experiences teach? Because it's not just what mom and dad pushed in you that creates you. It's also those experiences you have outside of the house.
I agree.
What you see in your friend's house, because you go over your friend's house and you see mom and daddy doing stuff over here. And if you spend a lot of time over there, though they're not raising you, they're raising you by the experiences there. The things you experience in school. People have, like, you have kids who they have issues at home, and so they act out at school. So then the teacher starts to do something. So when at home clears up, they have this thing about, I hate adults. And if that thing is never addressed when they get older, so now they have a problem with how they interact with people. They don't know how to handle conflict because they were never taught, especially if you grew up. When I grew up, they say you children ought to be seen and not heard. Shut up and do what I say, not as I do. So, there's a lot of things that shape the men and women that we are, even though we don't even know what all of those things were. So I just hope that we become patient and compassionate and give each other time, space, and grace and mercy to grow and become who we're supposed to be. Even how, Sean, when you were talking about the young man who was walking on the inside of the sidewalk versus the outside, and you told him, he was like, oh, I didn't know that. Like, we can't forget that everybody wasn't taught the same things. Everything wasn't passed down. And as a result, we see what we see. Maybe I'm not the answer for every woman, but for those that I am called to, they'll receive, and then they'll go and they'll reach out to others as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna wrap up here. Before we do, is there anything that you would like to share with our sisters?
I want to say, I understand. Like I said, our experiences are experiences. But as you stated, Mo, I'm patient. It's not to a place where I'm looking at the Black woman sideways. It's always coming from a place of love that I speak to you. Y'all, Black women, y'all are amazing. And like I said, once y'all get out of them circumstances and master getting to yourselves, loving on yourselves, learning yourselves, I think everything will run smoothly. Men, we definitely need to pick it up. But women, y'all are amazing, and I love y'all.
Mr. Collier?
I'll just say, I think overall, men and women both need to be open to the possibility of something new, learn to communicate, learn to find out those things about you that tells your story instead of hiding everything. I think many of us, we mask so much within us, it hides the true beauty of us. And I just think that men and women, we need to just, remove them guards sometimes and let somebody else in. I think sometimes we carry so much weight to so many things. Many of us are not open to share that weight with somebody else. And I think because of that, it keeps us guarded. I'll say that, my heart is for young people. Everything that I do is for young people. I can't get away from them little boogers, whether they're younger or older. And I just have a desire for them to see that same nurturing in women that I saw growing up. Having those, them hugs and them kisses from granny, spending that quality time, whether it was just sitting down reading the Bible or encyclopedias or watching granny, in the kitchen cooking a feast for the family.
Wait, you had encyclopedias?
Yeah, my grandma had Jesus. Hundreds of them.
That's old school.
Man. That's how I learned about history.
Know about that.
And I think that's my desire for our culture, is for the women to get back to being those nurturers that our children need. And I'll even say, I think it's some men who didn't receive that nurturing from a mother. They desire it in women, even as grown men. Having that sometimes that touch, or that just that warm embrace to say, I got you. And I think because so many guards have been put up over the years, I just think that some women just don't have it in them anymore. And so, like, I call you my pit bull, because I know you can go in a minute. My sister, she got them hands. She'll jump out quicker than a nigga would.
And she will. I'll have to hold her back.
I got, female cousins, all woman, but them they'll jump hard like a nigga would quick in a minute. And so it's just some things that I think over the years, the hurt have made many of our women guarded, where now they're so tough. They are afraid to let anybody in or to get close. And so my prayer and my hope is that God will restore our women back to our natural being. Being the pillars in our community, being nurturers to our children, being your child's first love, being able to walk confident in, all angles of life, wherever she may go. Find that confidence again. Stop looking at the Instagram models or the world, and just be you. Just allow your beauty to shine. And so, I love all women, so it really don't matter to me if you purple, black, white, pink, green, orange.
I'm gonna look at you side-eyed. You come in here with this purple chick about she the one, sis. You like, no, bro. Won't even know what kind of one she is.
No, she's so much green. I'm gonna have to send her back to Mars. But no, I love our women. I just pray that we get back to our natural beings. Like every other race mimic our race. Every other race of women desire to look like our women. Our women is admired by millions. And I just think sometimes we just have to see that for ourselves. So again, that's my prayer, that, our women just find their way back to being them. That's it for me.
Well, I like that statement you made, even with us getting back to that nurturing side of us. I I tease myself with it, talking about sometimes I got to learn to tap into the softer side of Mo.
Yes, Lord.
Shut up. That was
Amen.
not,
Stand in agreement.
that was not an invitation for nobody to co-sign. But in all honesty, and I don't want it to come out the wrong way, like it's the man's job, but it's kind of like we have to create an environment safe enough for her to come back out. And it has to be, and I know Dion, you talked earlier about if the ratio being 5-1, women to men. And I get that, and that you guys are outnumbered by us. However, when I say creating an environment safe enough for the softer side of women to step up, there's a lot of things that just like y'all deal with in the world, we deal with in the world. While y'all are registered or ranked in society's eyes below others, we're still yet below y'all. You know what I'm saying? And I know somebody mentioned earlier how that restrictions were listed. There are a lot of things that originally women didn't have the right to that you guys did, even though y'all weren't viewed as whole men, you know what I mean? Or whole people or whatever, or counted as that. So we have both come a long way, both male and female alike. However, the Black woman is still, while she may be highly viewed in y'all eyes and even objectified in the eyes of other races, she is still not where she's held in the light in which she really should be. I believe that there's a lot of experiences, a lot of neglect that have shaped what you see in certain generations. And even, I would even venture out to say that some of what you see is maturity. Because some of the stuff that you talk about now, the reason why women that I know and my age or whatever don't experience that is because we're at a different place in our life. But if we think back to where we were and what we saw when we were in our 20s, when we were in our 30s and stuff like that, how we act and how people around us act or others in that generation act, we mature. We talked about it on my last show. In my 20s, I was reckless. In my 30s, I spent my 30s trying to recover from my 20s and figure some stuff out. In my 40s, it's like, listen, I'm grown later for a lot of stuff. My tolerance level is different, which means my response to life is different. So some of it is age, some of it is maturity, some of it is upbringing, some of it is like, I'm a fighter, I'm a warrior. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm used to. I've had to push to get what I wanted or where I was. I've struggled for a long time. So that's created a mindset and a response. And that's why I said it was going to be my concern. Like, can I really just fall back and allow him to lead and co-create together when I'm so used to, I got to handle this on my own. I got to figure it out. And that don't mean I've never had help, but I've never had to be restricted to what other people thought. At the end of the day, it was my life, my decision. So there's a lot. So in order for a lot of what you all desire to see spread throughout, there has to be an environment where she's safe to do that. But when we living in a day where she got to work 2-3 jobs, start 4-5 businesses, and so on and so forth, it you talk about the entrepreneur, that ain't easy. Oh my God, is that Zena?
Yes.
That ain't easy. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it is what it is. It's an experience, and she has to learn how to finesse her way through that and navigate through it. And when they have a grind and a hustler's mentality, that's a different kind of animal. You know what I'm saying? That's a different kind of drive. So, that's why I stand with it all. But I want to thank you guys for joining me, for sacrificing your time to tune in and share. We're going to have some other things later in the year, and then the show will carry on through and it won't be
specifically about the Black woman. We need to go about different things in general. And I would love to have you guys come back and join us on some things if you're open.
Anytime.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Got you. Well, thanks again for joining me. If you guys have nothing else to share, you can go ahead and drop off and I'll close out from there.
All right.
All right.
Take care.
All right. See y'all. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for joining us tonight for another episode of Between Brothers and Sisters, where we were discussing the Black woman. I know a lot of comments were about the man. Tonight we were talking about the Black woman, and what I do know is I don't own or control anyone else's opinions and or their thoughts. And while they may or may not be in agreement with my own, they are theirs. So the whole point of the show is to have great conversation. I know there were some comments in the chat about men, and don't you worry, ladies and gentlemen, we will be having some discussions regarding the Black man. But I want to thank you all for joining in. I want to thank you guys for tuning in, for liking, for sharing. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications. We will be back here next Friday with another edition of Between Brothers and Sisters, but it will be an all ladies cast. Yep, that's right. They are all locked and loaded, and we are ready to dive in. I don't know where that word came from. But thanks again. Until next time, it's your girl, it's your host with the most, your favorite chick to chit chat with, Miss Mo. See you next Friday, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. I know we were a little bit late, but you know, these brothers had some technical difficulties, as you can see. But we're going to work it out on the next go round. We're still learning, we're still growing, and we're shaping this thing. So thank you. See you real soon. Tell a friend. And if you missed any of the other episodes, they are on my YouTube channel. Until next time, good night.